My husband yelled, "How dare you say no to my mother?" when I refused to sign over the apartment or send her money. After the plate flew at my head, I looked at him and said, "You don't know what I can do." Every face in the room went pale. The plate hit me before I even processed that he had moved. Ceramic, heavy, dinner plate, full swing, backhand. The crack of it against my skull sounded different from the inside than it probably did from the outside. From the outside, it was probably just a sharp sound, the kind that makes a room go silent all at once. From the inside, it was more like a door slamming in a house you didn't know had doors. I hit the floor. The tile came up fast. My cheek landed first. Blood ran into my eye, warm. The color of it against the pale tile was very specific. The particular red that belongs to head wounds, brighter than you expect, spreading faster than seems reasonable. I lay there for what was probably 3 seconds. It felt like much longer. Darren stood over me, his face the color of a burn, chest moving like he'd been running. His mother Eleanor stood near the dining table, both hands raised, and she was clapping. Actual applause. The sound of it in my condo, in my space, in the room I had painted the year I paid off the mortgage, was so genuinely surreal that for a full second I thought I had misread the situation. I had not misread the situation. Her friend Tanya, seated at the end of the table, gave a slow, approving nod. "In our day," she said, "husbands kept order. Good. 30 people were in the room. My condo, my food, my table. Not one of them moved. And what I felt, lying on my own floor, blood tracking down my cheek, 30 witnesses watching, was not fear. Not the shattering animal terror I might have predicted. Not even the kind of white-hot rage that makes you do something you'll regret. What I felt was the exact opposite of all of that. Still, the way a room goes still when the power cuts and every machine in it stops at once. Let me take you back 60 seconds because the plate didn't come from nowhere. It came from 2 years of somewhere. My name is Sierra. I am 35 years old. I am a senior financial compliance officer at a regional bank, a job I have held for 8 years, a job I took seriously enough to be promoted 3 times and lose 2 relationships because I was always at the office. I bought my condo at 28, 2 bedrooms, south-facing, 4th floor, in a building with a doorman and a parking spot that I negotiated separately. I bought it with 7 years of 60-hour weeks, clearance rack groceries, packed lunches, 1 vacation in 5 years, and the specific, stubborn discipline of a woman who decided at 22 that no one was ever going to be able to tell her she had to leave somewhere she lived. My name, only my name, on the title. I met Darren at 32. He was charming in the practiced way, attentive without being suffocating, the kind of man who shows up to a first date with flowers and asks questions and actually listens to the answers. We dated for 18 months. We got married in a small ceremony that I paid for, mostly because his finances were, as he explained it, in transition. I didn't ask too many questions about the transition because I loved him, and because the questioning felt ungenerous. That was mistake 1. Eleanor arrived in our lives approximately 4 months after the wedding, which was also approximately how long it took for Darren's charm to begin revealing its architecture. She flew in for what was supposed to be a 2-week visit and stayed for 6. She slept in my guest room, ate my food, used my parking spot for a rental car she never returned, and began, within the first week, making observations about my home that were technically questions but were not actually questions. Have you thought about redoing the kitchen? This neighborhood must have been more affordable before it turned around. Who decorated this? It's very functional. I told myself this was adjustment. I told myself she was lonely. Darren's father had died 3 years earlier, and Eleanor had never worked and was navigating, I imagined, a kind of financial exposure she had never anticipated. I made her tea. I included her in plans. I tried. She mistook my trying for weakness. That was mistake 2. Hers, not mine. But I let it continue longer than I should have, which made it partially mine as well. The financial requests started in month 7 of the marriage. First, it was a casual mention of needing help with a medical bill, $800, which I gave without tracking because it seemed rude to track. Then $2,000 for a car repair that turned out to be, based on photos Darren accidentally showed me, a new car. Then a semi-formal request, delivered through Darren over dinner one night, that I put Eleanor on my bank account as a secondary holder for emergencies. I said no. Darren's face changed when I said no. Not dramatically, just a shift, like a light adjusting, the temperature of him dropping 2 degrees. He didn't yell, he said fine and left the table and was quiet for 3 days. I told myself it was disappointment and that it would pass. It passed. The requests didn't. Eleanor escalated. By month 12, she was asking for $5,000 a month. She called it a family contribution, said it with the particular authority of a woman who believes that framing something correctly makes it real. I said no each time. Each no cost me something. A fight with Darren that went too long. A weekend of silence. A dinner where Eleanor didn't acknowledge me directly for 3 hours, and Darren said nothing. By month 18, she wanted half the condo. By month 20, she wanted full ownership transferred to her name. I remember the night she first said it clearly. We were sitting in my living room, which Eleanor had taken to calling the sitting room, in a way that had a particular territorial quality, and she put down her wine glass and said, "Darren's name should be on this property, and where Darren's name goes, mine follows. That's how family works." I said, "My name is on the property. It will remain on the property." She looked at Darren. Darren looked at me and said nothing. I went to bed. I lay awake for 2 hours running the arithmetic of the past 18 months and arriving at a sum that made me feel cold in the specific way you feel cold when you realize you have been slowly adjusted ascended, degree by degree, to a temperature that is wrong. The escalation loops, when I look back at them, are almost textbook. First loop, the money requests, and the silence that followed my refusals. I told myself Darren was caught between his wife and his mother, that this was a normal tension, that it would resolve when Eleanor eventually went home. She did not go home. She began spending more time in the city, staying sometimes a week, sometimes two. My guest room started accumulating her things. A hand mirror on the dresser, a cosmetics bag under the sink, a specific brand of herbal tea in my cabinet, small territorial markings. Second loop, the social pressure. Eleanor began bringing friends to my home, not asking, mentioning, the way you mention a fact. Tanya is coming Sunday. I told her you'd make that chicken dish. I made the chicken dish. I told myself this was generosity. It was not generosity. It was surrender disguised as hospitality. And every time I surrendered, the next ask got larger. Third loop, the documentation I started keeping. This started about 14 months in, when something my therapist said stuck. Her name is Dr. Renata Obi. She has been in practice for 19 years and specializes in what she calls coercive relationship dynamics, which is a clinical term for when someone you love rearranges your reality slowly enough that you don't notice until you're standing in a room you don't recognize. I had started seeing her at a colleague's recommendation, framed to myself as stress management, because calling it what it was felt too large. Dr. Obi told me in our 4th session, start writing things down, not for me, for yourself, so you can see the pattern when you're too close to it to see the pattern. I started writing things down. 3 months of notes, every request, every amount, every shift in Darren's behavior after I declined, the dates, the witnesses, the exact language. I kept it in an encrypted folder on my work laptop and I told no one it existed. 4th loop, the threat about the condo escalating to the demand. 6 weeks before the birthday dinner, Eleanor stopped hinting and started declaring. She came to the condo on a Tuesday evening. Darren was traveling for work, which I would later learn was partially true and partially a convenient absence, and sat at my kitchen table and said, with the flat certainty of someone reading from a script they'd rehearsed, this property should be in the family name. You will sign it over by the end of the month or Darren will begin the process of legally compelling it in the divorce. I sat very still. There is no divorce, I said, and no one is compelling anything. There will be, she said, if you continue to be unreasonable. I stood up, showed her to the door. She left. I called my lawyer, Alicia King, from the bathroom with the door locked, sitting on the edge of the tub. Alicia has been in family law for 16 years and has the quality of someone who has heard everything twice and has a strategy for all of it. She threatened divorce proceedings to compel a property transfer, I said. Alicia was quiet for a moment. That's not how compelled property transfers work in this state. She's either badly advised or bluffing, which is worse. Badly advised is scarier, Alicia said. Bluffers run out of steam. True believers don't. We started building my file that night. 5th loop, the birthday dinner. I cooked for 30 people. I bought the food. I set the table. I was exhausted from a 14-hour workday, and I did it anyway because it was Darren's birthday. And I still, at that point, believed, or told myself I believed, that there was a version of this marriage that could work if the Eleanor problem was managed correctly. It was not manageable. Eleanor stood up at 8:47 p.m. In the middle of the dinner I had cooked, in front of 30 people, and made her demand in the declarative. Sign the condo over, tonight. We find a notary tomorrow. The table went quiet. I looked at Darren. I was waiting. One more time, the last time, for him to be the man I married. He said nothing. I looked at Eleanor. No, I said. Not the condo, not $5,000 a month, not one more cent. Eleanor screamed at Darren. Show her who's boss. And he picked up the dinner plate. I got up off the floor slowly. Not because I was impaired. The hit was hard, but I was present. Exactly present. More present than I had been in 2 years. I got up slowly because there was something I needed the room to see. A woman getting up. Not collapsing. Not running. Getting up. Blood dripped from my eyebrow onto the tile. I could feel the swelling starting at my temple. The particular tight heat of a hematoma beginning to form. One eye was blurring. 30 people watched. I looked at Darren. He had gone slightly pale. The red was draining. The adrenaline cycling down and leaving behind what had always been under it. A man who had just done something in front of 30 witnesses that his body was beginning to understand had consequences. You don't know what I can do, I said. Quiet, no tremor, flat and final. The way you say something that isn't a threat, just a fact about the future, stated in the present tense. The room went cold. Eleanor stopped clapping. Something about my voice, the absence of everything they had been counting on, the missing tears, the missing shaking, the missing pleas, did something to the air in the room. I turned, walked to the bedroom, closed the door, locked it, and started working. Phone camera first. I went to the bathroom mirror and I documented everything. Split eyebrow, the laceration precise and clean-edged, the kind that comes from impact rather than a fall. Hematoma at the temple, 4 by 5 centimeters, already purpling. Blood tracking down my cheek in 3 distinct lines. Every angle, every detail, time-stamped by the phone. Then I called 911. Voice flat, clinical, giving information the way I give information in compliance audits. Precise, complete, no editorializing. My husband struck me with a ceramic plate. Laceration to the eyebrow, trauma to the temple. I need police and EMS. 30 witnesses present at the scene. Then Alicia. He hit me in front of 30 witnesses, I said. I have photos. I'm filing tonight. Alicia said 4 words. I'm already on it. Then I pulled the emergency duffel from the back of the closet. I had packed packed it 2 weeks ago, not because I knew the plate was coming. I didn't know about the plate. I packed it because Dr. Obi, in one of our sessions, had said something that stayed with me. The people who leave safely are the people who prepared before they needed to. I had packed it the way I run compliance audits. Thorough, documented, nothing left to chance. Passport, condo title, the deed with my name on it, bank cards, $3,000 in cash, mixed denominations, my marriage certificate because I was going to need it. 4 minutes. Everything I actually needed fit in 4 minutes. The knock came 19 minutes later. 2 officers, Officer Daniela Torres, 8 years on the force, and her partner, Officer Marcus Webb. Torres took my statement while Webb managed the room. I had been in the bedroom. When I came out, the party had redistributed itself into a kind of frozen tableau, no one wanting to leave first, no one knowing what to do with the situation. Darren jumped up when he saw the officers. "Sierra, what are you?" "I'm filing for assault and battery," Eleanor erupted. "She fell. He barely touched her. This is a family matter." Torres raised one hand, didn't look at Eleanor. "Ma'am, stop talking." The EMT was a woman named Kara Nkosi, who has been with the department for 11 years and has the efficient, no-performance quality of someone who has documented 10,000 injuries and has long since run out of shock. She examined me in the living room while the guests watched. "Laceration to the eyebrow, approximately 2 centimeters, will require closure. Hematoma to the right temple, 4 by 5 centimeters. You'll need an official medical evaluation for court documentation. I can arrange that for you tonight or first thing tomorrow." "Tomorrow morning," I said. "I'll go directly from here. I'll make the note in my report." I looked at the room. People were leaving now, quietly, the way guests leave when a party has become something none of them planned for. Tanya, who had nodded when Darren swung, picked up her purse and was gone before anyone said goodbye to her. Others followed. Nobody made eye contact with Darren. Nobody made eye contact with Eleanor. The party evaporated, and then my father stepped forward. "I should tell you about Colonel Robert Sterling. He is 63 years old. He served 30 years in the United States Army, retired as a full colonel with 2 commendations and the kind of bearing that is not performed. It is simply structural, the way a building has load-bearing walls. He is not a loud man. He has never needed to be. He speaks at one volume, quietly, and people hear him clearly because the alternative is not being heard by him at all, which is a worse outcome. He had been standing against the wall of my living room for the previous 40 minutes, still and watchful, a cup of coffee in his hand that he had never actually drunk from. I had not seen him move once. He moved now. He walked across the room toward Darren at a measured pace, the kind of haste that has a destination and knows exactly what it will find there. Darren backed up until the wall was behind him. My father's voice was military quiet. "Did you do that to my daughter?" Darren nodded, barely, the smallest possible movement of acknowledgement. My father reached out and took him by the collar. The stairwell door closed behind them. What followed lasted approximately 60 seconds. I heard Darren's voice twice. "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." My father's voice once, even and unhurried. "You will answer for every drop of her blood." When the door opened again, Darren came through it holding his ribs. His nose was bleeding. His left eye had the specific puffed, half-closed look of the beginning of a significant bruise. My father walked past him like he wasn't there. He stopped in front of Eleanor. She had not moved. She was still at the dining table, the champagne glass she had brought from the kitchen still in her hand, the clapping hands now folded in her lap. She was looking at my father the way people look at something they have misjudged. "If you come near my daughter again," he said, "I will make your life unrecognizable through entirely legal methods. Are we clear?" Eleanor nodded. Her lips were shaking. For the first time in 2 years, she had nothing to say. My father looked at the door. "Now get out of my daughter's condo." Eleanor grabbed Darren by the arm and pulled him toward the entrance. Darren went without resistance. He had become, in the past 20 minutes, a substantially reduced man. The last thing I heard from the hallway, Eleanor's voice dropping as the door closed. "You lost everything. A rich wife, a free condo, and for what?" The door shut. My father turned around. He looked at me. Bloody dress, butterfly closure over the eyebrow, standing very straight in the middle of my living room, and something moved across his face that I had not seen in years. Not sympathy, not worry, something older and quieter. Pride. "Tomorrow morning," I said, "I file for divorce." He nodded once. I already called the family lawyer. What followed was not fast. It was thorough, which is better. The medical documentation happened at 8 a.m. The next morning at Northwestern's urgent care, where Dr. Priya Mehta, 7 years in emergency medicine, closed the eyebrow laceration with 3 sutures and generated a formal injury report. Blunt force trauma consistent with high-velocity impact, ceramic or similar material, that went into the court file as Exhibit A. Alicia filed the assault and battery complaint the same morning. She also filed the emergency protective order, which was granted by Judge Patricia Holt within 4 hours of submission, based on the injury documentation, the 911 call recording, Officer Torres' scene report, and the written statements of 6 witnesses who had been at the party and contacted Alicia's office voluntarily in the 16 hours after the incident. 6 out of 30. The others stayed quiet, which told me things I needed to know about who those people actually were. The protective order meant Darren could not come within 500 feet of my condo, my workplace, or my person. He was served at his mother's house, where he had apparently gone directly after leaving mine. The divorce filing came 3 days later. Alicia had already begun building on something I had given her 6 weeks earlier, the encrypted folder, 3 months of documentation. Every request, every amount, every shift in behavior behavior, every date, every witness who had been present. She called it unusually thorough for a non-attorney. You documented this like a compliance audit, she said. I am a compliance officer. It's going to be very useful. The condo question resolved itself with clarifying efficiency. My name alone on the title, purchased before the marriage with no subsequent transfer of any kind, was entirely protected. Darren had no legal claim. The claim Eleanor had been threatening to compel through divorce proceedings was, exactly as Alicia had predicted, not actually how property law worked in our state. All of Eleanor's 2 years of pressure, every demand, every ultimatum, every manufactured emergency, every month of Darren's cold silences, had been built on a legal foundation that did not exist. They had been threatening me with something they could not actually do. I sat with that fact for a full afternoon and felt the particular, bone-deep exhaustion of realizing how much energy you spent being afraid of a locked door. The assault case moved quickly given the documentation. Darren's attorney, a man named Gerald Park, who had the perpetually weary quality of someone who has been asked to defend the indefensible one too many times, attempted to negotiate a plea arrangement that would avoid jail time. Alicia reviewed it, called me, and asked what outcome I wanted. I want a record, I said. I want it on paper, permanently, that this happened. We took a plea of assault and battery, second offense. It emerged during the process that there had been a prior incident, a neighbor at a previous apartment, that had been settled quietly, with 18 months probation, a mandatory domestic violence intervention program, and a permanent entry in the public court record. His name attached to what he did. That was what I wanted. The divorce was finalized 4 months after filing. No contested assets. The condo was mine, the bank accounts were mine. The property Darren actually brought to the marriage amounted to a used car and a storage unit full of items Alicia described as of negligible value. He left with what he came with and a court record he would carry forward. Eleanor attempted twice to contact me during the proceedings. Once through a mutual acquaintance who clearly did not understand what they were being asked to relay. Once through a letter to my condo address that my building's doorman collected and forwarded directly to Alicia per my standing instructions. Alicia sent a response on her firm's letterhead, noting that any further contact would be treated as a violation of the protective order. We did not hear from Eleanor again. Dr. Arfar, Obi and I continued working together for another 8 months after the divorce. I want to be specific about this because people leave therapy out of these stories, and I think that is a mistake, like leaving the foundation out of the description of a building. She asked me, in a session about 4 months after the incident, what I thought I had learned. I had been thinking about this already, because it is the kind of question that lives in you whether you invite it or not. I think I learned, I said slowly, that I had been treating my instincts like they needed justification. Like every time something felt wrong, I had to build a case for it before I was allowed to trust it. Dr. Obi nodded. And now? Now I trust it first, I said, and build the case after. She wrote something down. That's a significant shift. It costs something, I said. Most significant shifts do. She paused. The other thing I want to say, she added, is that the documentation, the folder you kept, the records, the preparation, that was not paranoia. That was self-respect. You knew something was wrong. You responded to what you knew instead of what you were being told to believe. That's not a small thing. It did not feel small, but it also did not feel like victory. Exactly. It felt like the aftermath of something, the specific quiet of a storm that has finally stopped, the particular clarity of air after a long time of weather. The condo is still mine. The kitchen I painted the year I paid off the mortgage. The parking spot I negotiated separately. The south-facing windows that get light from 11 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. My name on the title. Still, only mine. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I was at my building's doorman desk signing for a package when my phone buzzed. A text from a number I had blocked, coming through on a different number, which told me something about the resourcefulness of desperation. I know I don't deserve anything. I just need someone to talk to. It was Darren. I looked at it for a moment. I thought about the plate, the tile floor, the specific red of a head wound in afternoon light, the sound of 30 people not moving. I thought about my father's face when he turned around in that living room. I blocked the new number, handed the signed slip back to the doorman, went upstairs, made coffee in my kitchen, sat at my table in the south-facing light and opened my laptop and went back to work. There is a thing I know now that I did not know 2 years ago, and I want to say it plainly because I spent a long time not knowing it, and the not knowing was expensive. No one gets to take what you built. Not by asking, not by demanding, not by staging a campaign so gradual you don't see the edges of it until you're in the middle. They can try. They will try. Some of them will be very good at it, practiced at it, will have done it before to other women in other rooms. It does not matter. What matters is what you built and what you know and what you are willing to document and what you understand about your own instincts. I built something. I knew what it was. I documented everything. And when the moment came, lying on my own floor, blood on my face, 30 witnesses who weren't moving, I already knew exactly what I was going to do next. That is not luck. That is preparation. And it is the only thing they never saw coming.